distinguished participants, good morning. Welcome to the event titled Breaking the Plastic Habit in Asia, a public dialogue on the application of behavioral insights. This event is jointly organized by the Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia and the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies. We aim to bring together the practitioners we worked together on an innovative initiative to apply behavioral science approach to tackle the pressing issues in the ASEAN societies, which is the reduction of single-use plastic, cups, bags, and other utensils. And we aim at this event to provide you with some of the practical insights and tools so that our partners can further tackle with the issue of single-use plastic reduction somehow based on the insights, lessons we gained through the initiatives we did with our partners. Well, I am Atsushi Watabe, Program Director of the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, IGES, and I'm facilitating the first half of this event. First of all, I would like to invite Mr. Reo Kawamura, the Director for Environment Policies and Director for the Regional Knowledge Center for Marine Plastic Debris at ERIA, to provide his welcome remarks. Mr. Kawamura, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Watabe. Ms. Jo Kumara Dewi, Director of Environmental Partnership, Ministry of Environment and Forestry of Republic of Indonesia. She's participating in online. And Dr. Atsushi Watabe and team from the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, and Dr. Arisman, Executive Director of the Center of the Southeast Asian Studies, and Ms. Frida Lee Daison Diola and Ms. Noriza Tibon study lectures at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and Dr. Nuta Spakata, Professor of the Department of Environmental Science, Faculty of Science, Chulalongkorn University, and Mr. Diep Dinh Phom, Vice Director of the Southern Institute of Ecology, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Reo Kawamura. I'm glad to welcome you all in the ERIA's office today. Plastic is cheap, strong, and durable, on top of being relatively easy to manufacture, which makes this synthetic material widely cherished and adopted in different applications. Nowadays, plastics are literally everywhere. If you look around, this is made of plastics. This is also made of plastics. So we can find many items in this room has some components that is made of plastics. Unfortunately, everywhere also means not just in the places where we want them to be. Plastics are found in the environment, including rivers and oceans, and even detected in our food and in our bodies. Since the 1960s, our view of plastics has started to change. Plastics, when inadequately managed as a waste, turned out to be detrimental, not just to the environment, but also to human health. It is important to study the natural science aspects of this problem, such as building data on how much mismanaged plastics are being released into the environment and how it is affecting the marine ecosystem. We also recognize that given its ubiquitous nature, managing plastics has proved to be rather problematic. It is important to understand the social aspects of a complicated relationship with plastics. Here at the Regional Center for Marine Plastic Debris at ERIA, we acknowledge that marine plastic problem is an interdisciplinary issue and recognize the importance of having data-driven and science-based knowledge to support policy decision-making. It is our mission to support ASEAN +3 member states in addressing marine plastic debris by collecting and disseminating the latest information and good practices surrounding it. We work in collaboration with our stakeholders, such as regional policymakers, research institutes, international organizations, and the private sector. Although the fight against plastic pollution may be a tough one, we know that it's not impossible. One of the latest success stories comes not too far away from where we are right now. Just last week, Mayor Josefina Belmonte of Quezon City in the Philippines was recognized as one of the 2023 champions of the earth. It is the United Nations' highest environmental honor for her efforts to combat plastic pollution in her city through innovative initiatives and policies. Under her leadership, Quezon City has banned a number of single-use plastics items by providing financial incentives to the citizens and encouraged refill stations to sell products such as liquid detergent without using plastic sachet. This shows that efforts to combat plastic pollution are not futile, and when well designed and implemented, can make a notable difference to communities and the environment at the city level. Today, we are gathered to discuss some of the findings of the project entitled Application of Behavioral Insights Approaches for Plastic Reduction that ERIA has been jointly implemented in partnership with IGES. This project is uniquely interesting as it examines factors that may influence us to reduce plastic waste, but more particularly single-use plastics waste, by nudging human behavior in a more sustainable direction. By applying theories of behavioral economies and social science more widely, IGES team with the support of local partners, local partners based on Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, have successfully IGES with local partners in Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam have successfully piloted 4 survey projects. This project tries to understand what drives people to consume single-use plastics and what incentives can alter the way we think and act. Although this project is still in the early stages and the studies were conducted within a limited environmental sample size, its findings were useful for planning the next stage of the project. We are currently considering a way to scale up the project to cover a larger area, potentially at the city level, to further gain insights that can be applied to governments, businesses, and schools to implement plastic reduction policies in their institutions. Yesterday, we held a workshop with our colleagues from IGES and the project partners from 4 countries, where they studied in detail in the findings from the implementation of the project in the respective institutions. Despite the different settings for cultural context of the 4 pilot projects, this exchange of success stories, best practices, and the challenges faced were useful in enriching our collective understanding and the behavioral insights. Okay. Behavioral insights to combating plastic pollution. As a group, we identified the importance of having dialogues with stakeholders that will be involved or impacted by the project in designing plastic reduction campaigns, considering the potential for incentives and disincentives for nudging plastic reduction, as well as taking into account exit strategies to ensure the continued practice of sustainable plastics usage long after the end of the project. Yesterday, partners also discussed concrete communication tools and materials to be developed to effectively disseminate key learnings and messages from their projects with stakeholders. And I hope that we can share with you very soon. Today, at the panel discussion, you will hear firsthand from representatives of our project partners some of the insights that they have gathered from the pilot project in the respective institutions. I encourage you to bring back home as many takeaways as you can from them. But more than that, I encourage you to actively engage in today's dialogue by sharing your thoughts and questions with the panelists. We hope that this will be a thought-provoking event for all of you. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our colleagues of Center for Southeast Asian Studies from Indonesia, of University of Philippines, Diliman, of Chulalongkorn University from Thailand, of Southern Institute of Ecology from Vietnam, and last but not least, of IGES team, for their hard work on the ground and for the enthusiasm to share their experience and lessons learned with a wider audience today. Indeed, throughout the many projects that ERIA has carried out, we have learned that knowledge is useless if it is kept among a small number of scholars or researchers without any wider application. We want to create accurate, but at the same time, accessible and actionable knowledge for the benefit for the ASEAN region. Thank you. I wish you all a fruitful dialogue and discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kawamura, for your warm welcome for our team, our partners, as well as the participants and encouragement to engage actively in this dialogue. This is titled Dialogue, not just a webinar. So I hope all of you online or on site can engage in our discussion to make the knowledge practicable. So here we are privileged to invite the keynote speech from Ms. Jo Kumala Devi, the Director for the Environment Partnership at the Ministry of the Environment and Forestry, Republic of Indonesia. Ms. Jo Kumala, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks to God for giving me the time and opportunity to join in such valuable event today. Public dialogue, breaking the plastic habit in Asia. A public dialogue on the application of behavioral insights. Thanks to the initiator, the Regional Knowledge Center for Marine Plastic Litter of the Economic Research Institute for Asians and East Asia, and the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Director for Environmental Partnerships in Ministry of Environment and Forestry in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, on these occasions, I just want to share the issue about the sustainable consumptions related with the single-use plastic waste around us. As we know, a healthy living environment is the right of every Indonesian citizen and this written in one paragraph of our constitutions, the 1945 in Article 28. It stated that everyone has the right to live in physical and mental prosperity, to have a place to live and to have a good and healthy living environment. What does it mean? It means every citizen needs to care, to help ensure the rights of others to have good and healthy environment. Therefore, related to waste management in Indonesia, which is regulated in Law number 18, 2008, concerning waste management, there are several things that we need to know together, including Article 12, 19, and 20. I just summarized that stated everyone in the management of household waste and waste similar to household waste is obligated to reduce and handle waste in an environmentally insight. Consists of waste reductions and waste handling. 2. Waste reduction includes activities limiting waste, recycling waste, and or reusing waste. The waste policy was established 15 years ago, but along with economic growth, the waste problem is getting more complex time to time. Continuously increase in using of single-use plastic due to changes in lifestyle and consumption patterns of Indonesians who wants to be more practical. It impacts to increasing the volume of plastic waste. For example, from online shopping, online food delivery, as well as the packaging of goods and food. Based on our data, the National Waste Management Information System, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, there are some interesting numbers, such as Indonesia produced 19.45 million tons of waste in 2022. On this amount, almost 40%, 39.63% comes from household waste, and 18% of the total waste composition is plastic waste. So, ladies and gentlemen, back to the issue waste management. Waste reduction includes activities limiting waste, recycling waste, and or reusing waste. Is it easy or difficult to be implemented? As a regulation is not difficult if supported by all stakeholders. But how about us? Every one of us must be a consumer. How to be a smart consumer with responsible behavior? This is interesting questions. Consumers who think carefully with considerations of all the impacts of their decisions before buying and consuming something are or called by responsible consumer. If this behavior as responsible consumers is continued and internalized of all individuals and become a habit, it means consumers support sustainable consumptions. Why? Because where the natural resources are treated with care, utilized efficiently for higher yields, not damaging and polluting the ecosystem, and ensure to have a positive impacts on others, such as supporting fair trade and social missions as a form of social solidarity. In other words, buying decisions are more due to rational considerations. The act of responsible consumption for sustainable consumption is a form of concern and care for sustainability of natural resources for a better quality of life for everyone, now and in the future and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, sustainable consumption implies the need to conserve the natural resources that are increasingly limited and polluted. Technological breakthrough and innovations are needed so that the same use of natural resources is expected to produce greater products. Environmental pollutions or damage should be minimized as natural resources become more limited as the populations continuously increase. How can the basic needs of all people around the world be met? Interesting questions. Exploitations of natural resources needs to be minimized and environmental damage prevented. Sustainable consumption itself is one of the real solutions for environmental and social balance, with more responsible behavior from everyone. In particular, sustainable consumption is associated with the productions and distributions, use and disposal of products and services, where consumers rethink their lifestyle, whether in food fashions, whether in food, in consume fashions, consuming time, in leisure time, and etc. Okay, all participants, in encouraging the public to care and behave in environmentally insight, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry has provided appreciations awards for those who have proven carried out activities that support the preservation of nature and the environment voluntarily and have a broad impact. One of them, called by Adivyata program, is a program appreciation for school that show their commitment and are willing to work hard to fulfill 4 components, namely school policy, curriculum, participatory-based activities, and facilities or infrastructure with supporting environmental educations. Another program, we call this as a proper. That's a one government instrument to encourage the improvement of companies' environmental management performance in accordance with compliance in the laws and regulations and beyond compliance. It leveling from black level, red level, blue level, green and gold level. So the best is gold level. Another is the highest award in the field of environment and forestry, who involve the individual and the, or groups, called by Kalpataru program, that has been awarded since 43 years ago, precisely starting in 1980. This program aimed to increasing awareness, concern, participations, and opening opportunities for the development of initiative, motivations, innovation, and creativity in efforts to protect and manage the environment and forestry voluntarily and sustainably. There are 4 categories for this award. We call it Perintis as a pioneer, Pengabdi is devoter, Penyelamat is savior, and another Pembina is a builder. From until now, we already have more than 300 acceptance a sector of this award. Maybe I can give one example, 1 or 2 examples from this Kalpataru program. One of the 2022 Kalpataru recipients, there's a female former rowing athlete, Mrs. Leni Haini, in the environmental pioneer category. She managed to collect 1.5 tons of waste from the lake, the local lake in Palembang. We call it Lake Sipin, that's in Sumatra, which has been deposited to waste bank to be recycled and proceed into compost. And she founded the Jambi City Waste Bank Association. Another is really unique, a police officer, recipients of Kalpataru 2022 category for builder, environmental builder. His name is Dodi, pioneered the establishment of the partner waste bank. Now, in his area, there are main waste bank would be 11 waste bank branch unit, which involve more than 100 employees with 10,000 customers, and these activities have a turnover of 500 million per month. In these examples, we can see especially the individual can do something if they want to do something for plus waste management. These are some examples that can inspire us to participate and behave smartly in handling waste, including plastic waste. If they can do it, why can we? If not from now and starting from ourselves, what are we waiting for? While we all know wars in other parts of the world are still raging, at least we are doing something to help tackle the impacts of the climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, I just want to conclude that this event, a public dialogue supported by all stakeholders, should be continuously and more effective to do. Is aimed to encourage all stakeholders, hand in hand, together, to do something to make a better world. And can be start from now, from ourselves, and from a little things. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Terima kasih, Ibu Kumara, for your very inspiring keynote speeches. Well, she gave us some good examples of the practices starting from the small scale that eventually leading to the big movement. And also she gave us a big question, how can we take responsible behaviors, consumer behaviors? She gave us some hints. Responsible behavior is not just about, well, the minimizing the environmental damage. It's quite important to minimize the environmental damage. It's important also to reduce the extraction of natural resources. But she also said it's about creating the living condition that enables all of us to live with more confidence, with more positive impacts, with their social solidarity. I think our partners can also address some of these insights from their experiences. Thank you very much, Ibjo Kumala. That said, well, next, I would like to introduce you to the background of this public dialogue, which is the project IGES, ERIA, and 4 partners have been collaborating on since last year. The application of behavioral insights to reduce some uncomfortable but widely known facts. Next, please. I'm sorry, I had to use these slides to introduce the speaker. Yes, this one, please. So it's already well known that our region, Asia, has been the largest contributor to the global plastic pollution, accounting for more than 50% of the plastic production globally. And next, please. And Asia is also the host of many of the world's most polluted rivers, unfortunately. And next, please. And well, as Mr. Kamura and as Ibu Jokumara mentioned, thanks to, I don't know if I can say thanks to, but well, due to the successful economic development of the ASEAN region and the improved living standards in this region, including Indonesia. In some societies in this region have already become closer to the level of the world's wealthiest societies in terms of the per capita production of plastic wastes. So next, please. So how we can address this issue? How can fight against this trend to curb the increasing trend of the plastic waste is a big challenge, as Ibu Kumara introduced us. So let us start with imagining one habit, one bad habit, which we want to eliminate, but also we find it quite challenging to do so. For example, smoking or staying up too late and watching Netflix forever or having sweets in my case. Mr. Kamura, do you have any habit you want to abolish but you can't?
I should not say in the Indonesian country, but I love alcohol.
Okay, then Mr. Kamura, since you are assigned in this office in Indonesia, have you taken any measure to reduce your alcohol intake?
Well, I looked for the delicious soft drinks in Indonesia to drink at first, and then I have no time to drink alcohol before sleeping. So this is one of the solutions.
Wonderful. He mentioned some of the good levers for behavior change, which I was going to introduce from now. And in my case, I can't stop having sweet snacks while walking. And even though I know well that how bad it is to take sweets to my body and also to my economy, but anyway, sometimes I find myself having chocolates even without being aware of it. So in this sense, well, even though we try to change our behavior with our intention, our rational choice, but sometimes rational choice does not help well very effectively. So here are some set of levers for behavior change I'm going to introduce from now. So for example, the first one is the information. So well, let's come back to the plastic issue. So we can tell people, we can educate ourselves how the plastic waste is polluting the environment, how plastic waste are already damaging our health, as Mr. Kamura introduced us. And secondly, we can regulate the use or wasting of plastics, as Ibu Kumara mentioned. Mr. Kamura also mentioned the case of the Quezon City, Philippines. This is a strong lever for change. And thirdly, we can also think of providing incentives or disincentives. For example, they're charging the additional cost for the use of plastic utensils. So these are rather classic levers for behavior change, which have been traditionally applied by the policies. And next, please. But as I said earlier, these levers depend too much on our rational choice, which help us sometimes. So here are some additional levers for changes. For example, by making the reduction of plastic use as socially shared norms, then to commit to the change than the case of tackling the plastic individually. And we can use the emotional appeal for the behavior change, which I hope some of our colleagues will introduce how emotional appeals will help people to change their behaviors. And lastly, so we can also think of redesigning So like the case that Mr. Kamura put himself closer to alternative drinks rather than the alcohol. This is also a good, strong levers for behavior change. So thank you very much, Mr. Kamura. Next, please. So by way of combining these 6 levers for change, the behavioral insights framework can inspire us, not as the individual, but as the society or the community, how we can help ourselves changing the behavior and how we can design the alternative context of behavior toward helping all of us to choose better alternatives. Next, please. And actually, there are some cases in Europe or North America which already applied the behavioral insights approach in tackling the reduction of plastic waste and usages. But in ASEAN societies, we could find still limited cases. There are some cases, but the number of limited. So the intention of our project is gaining more cases from the ground of the community cities in ASEAN societies to have more practical insights, how we can utilize together with our ASEAN partners, the behavioral insights more practically to suit the context of ASEAN societies. So we started the project with the literature review of the cases of applying behavioral science. And then as the second step, we identified 4 partners from Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam to work on the ground to apply behavior science to actually change the behavior about the plastic utensils. And finally, we are now collaborating with their partner teams to develop their toolkit, or what we call the guidance node, about the usage of behavior insights approach to reduce plastic, single-use plastics in ASEAN societies. Next, please. So we have identified the 4 teams from Thailand, Chulalongkorn University, from the Philippines, University of Philippines, Dillman, and from Vietnam, Southern Institute for Ecology, and from Indonesia, Center for Southeast Asian Studies, and University of Indonesia. Next, please. So these 4 teams applied the 6 levels in the unique interventions. I can introduce only some of them for the benefit of time, but later on they will introduce more about their implementation, as well as some lessons learned from the ground level implementation. But I would like to emphasize at this point that all of these actions are not just designed by the experts of behavior science or experts of engineering. They were the participatory actions developed and evolved together with their participants and partners, including students, vendors, engineers, and faculty management staffs, and so on. Next, please. So here are some photos from the pilot teams. For example, this is the right one from the Vietnam team, organized a unique competition among students about their messaging for plastic reduction and waste separation. And well, the left one from the Indonesia, they designed a very attractive apron and posters to tap into the emotional appeals. So, next, please. And as the result, initial result, all of these 4 pilot teams have tangible reduction of the use or wasting of single-use plastic cups or straws at their implementation sites. I hope we can learn from the pilot teams later on. Next, please. And building on these experiences and some challenges faced by these pilot teams, we are now developing the toolkit or the guidance note, which provides the readers with the practical steps toward identifying the challenges, designing the pilot, and implementing, monitoring, and scaling up for mainstreaming the ideas. So we are going to release this guidance note by the end of this year. Next, please. But here, I would like to introduce 4 key takeaways from we gained through the discussion with the pilot teams. Firstly, so all of the pilot teams have past experiences of tackling some of the sustainability challenges. For example, just as an example, the team of Chulalongkorn University have the experience of the Chula Zero Waste campaign. And their network, as well as their insights gained through this big campaign, have helped the team to create a new partnership with the new participants of the project. So I would like to suggest all others to tap into the past experiences and networks you already have, instead of starting from the scratch. And the second insight is the participation and partnership and collaboration as the key for success. So as I said earlier, behavior insights approach is not an easy solution or just single medicine for curing all the problem. We need to work with our partners to identify the problem and the best way to apply their behavioral insights approach in their unique context. And this may take some time. We need patience and collaboration and gaining insights from all of our partners. And thirdly, their messaging with emotional appeals are very effective. And again, I will ask the panelists to show some insights from your experience later on at the panel discussion. And last but not least, I would like to highlight that all of these pilot teams did not just try to change the behavior of plastics. They contextualized their challenge of behavior change in the broader efforts of creating the system where all of the stakeholders, like the sellers, vendors, consumers, students, faculty, staff members, can meet their needs without depending on single-use plastics. For example, the efforts of the University of Philippines, Diliman, is connected to the efforts of creating the better waste management systems, aiming for the zero waste campus in the medium to long term. So I would like to repeat this important point that behavior change is not the goal or the single medicine. It's best utilized in the context of the longer term effort, broader effort of the systemic changes for sustainable future of the community, cities, campuses, and so on. So next, please. So after having the discussion, we share some medium to long-term goals, how we can best utilize the experience of the short-term pilot cases, including the dissemination of the insights and creating the network of practitioners and supporting the capacity building of practitioners. And finally, supporting the policymakers in mainstream these ideas in the context of the policy changes for plastic-free societies. Next, please. So with this in mind, we just started the discussion, exploration of the next steps for our pilot project, which includes the more diversity of pilot cases or their more engagement with policymakers for supporting policy development, and we want to have the clear and common monitoring and evaluation framework that can help partners to engage further with their partners. And finally, we want to develop some training or capacity building programs so that we can help potential new partners over ASEAN societies to learn from our experience and implement their unique endeavor for the plastic-free societies. So before taking too much time, I would like now to introduce our panelists to the forefront of this discussion to share their experience and lessons from their implementation. So, can I now introduce, Mr. Arisman, the Center for Southeast, please stand up, Center for Southeast Asian Studies from Indonesia. Dr. Nuta from Chulalongkorn University. Dr. Noriza and Dr. Lear, please stand up from the University of Philippines, Diliman. And finally, Dr. Phong, Southern Institute of Ecology, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And our panel session is moderated by my colleague, Mr. Dwayne Appleby, Program Manager of IGES. So I and Mr. Kamra will give floor to these panelists from now.
All right. First, let me say that I'm very, very pleased to see so many people here and also online. As Watabe-san kindly mentioned, my name is Dwayne Appleby. I'm a program manager for sustainable consumption and production at IGES, and I've been quite involved in this project. Just a few housekeeping notes for our panel. I will be keeping time, so please, panelists, forgive me if I attempt to cut you off at some point. I'd like to remind the online panelists that you can make use of the question and answers box to put some questions that we will be taking note of and use in the Q&A session later. As well, participants here in the room, maybe keep notes. We'll have Q&A. And of course, if we can't get to all your questions, you'll have an opportunity to speak to the panelists during our coffee after the panel. Without further ado, I'd like to jump into the first question. So if we can go to the next slide, thank you. So we'll start with our colleague Arisman from here in Indonesia. I wonder if you could reflect for us on, what are some of the remarkable behavior change that you've seen through the design and implementation of your project in applying behavioral insights approaches. Please.
Okay, thank you, Dwayne. Yeah, first, I would like to introduce our project in University of Indonesia. We start with a targeted to single-use plastic, which is straw and cup, and then we have a communication with all stakeholders in the faculty level, including the faculty member, the student, as well as the vendors. We choose these two types of plastic because of we think that plastic straw is one of important plastic waste should be eliminated from the canteen. And then based on, we start with the baseline survey. We want to know the knowledge, attitude, and practice of the student and the faculty member at the University of Indonesia, including the vendors. Based on our result that they understand that the dangers of plastic waste, but they don't know how to change their behavior. So we have like a 4 months intervention through several programs like plastic free event, workshop, monitoring. We use all the framework mentioned by Dr. Atsushi, like material incentive, choice architecture, and also emotional appeal. So based on the approach and intervention, we got the result after the intervention. There's a reduction of the plastic straw. It's very impressive because it's 89%. I think the two approach is very effective is choice architecture and material incentive. From the six, I believe this is very effective. And the second one is plastic cup reduction is 49%. So this is yeah, of course compared to plastic straw is less, but I think because of this modern cafe, but they still change. Like the student now bring their own tumbler, but yeah, not as effective like the straw. So yeah, I think that's all from Indonesia. I can add more if you need more information about this pilot.
Sure. Actually, do we have this additional slide for? Yeah. So we've got this additional slide. If you'd like to speak to that, we have a couple more minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is to show you that the process from the baseline survey, and then we have a kickoff. And this is important to get understanding all the stakeholders, especially from the canteen sellers, because from their perspective, why we have to move the straw, because some of the drink is not easy to drink it without straw, like a juice. And so this is quite challenging, but we're communicating with them. And then we start with the baseline data, and then we monitoring every week. And we also doing several events like public campaign, online and offline. And after the 4 months, we try to capture and have a documentation about what is their student perception on the if they don't drink without straw. And then for them it's okay because the choice architecture I mentioned, they put it hidden by mentioned by Asusi, and also they have to pay 2,000 rupiah. So this is also another barriers material incentive. So I think that's the picture to show the process. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arisman, and thank you for really highlighting the role that choice architecture played, as well as that material incentive, and a little bit of information there as well, consciousness raising at work. Thank you very much. So now I'd like to turn to Nuta from the Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. Please, if you could introduce your project.
สวัสดีค่ะ Good morning for you all. And first of all, I would like to introduce our university, Jangkon University, have launched a project called Transformative Waste Project in order to reduce the waste up to 30% from last 7 years ago. And from this project, one of the sub-projects is to the university launched a policy to reduce single-use plastic waste in our university. And from these policies, what we have to do is Jurassic Waste Project have encourage all the students and staff to bring our own cloth bag or reusable bag for shopping in the free market in the university, and also encourage the shop owners or the food vendors not to give the single-use plastic bag for free, but request our consumer to ask and have to pay for 2 Thai baht for this reuse single bag made from recycling materials. And also encourage food vendors and shop owners to use biodegradable packaging materials or utensils like the cup is made from PLA or another choice. And for our project, what we have to do is our objective is to assess the efficacy of the policy on reducing single-use plastic in 2 free markets in the university. 2 free markets. First is Jula free markets located in the campus, and another is Samyang free market with located outside the campus but in the area of the university. And also our second objective to assess the satisfactory and also the change in behavior on reducing single-use plastic waste on the consumers and shop owners as well. And for the result as shown in the screen, you can see that, go back please, that the result on the screen, you can see that in July free market, we can reduce single-use plastic waste up to 43.5%. But on the other hand, at the Samyang free market, we can reduce 0.2%. Yes, for our result. Okay, and what this picture shows that our consumer tries to use food bag in our food bag for shopping, and also we try or encourage all the food vendors to use biodegradable packaging. Yes, some example. And also here at the July Free Market, we have like a booth for providing free reusable bag for consumer. If they forgot to bring their own cloth bag, they can get the free reusable bag. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nuta. And I think I really appreciate you bringing some examples for us to see the types of alternatives that are at use. And I think it's noteworthy as well that when we think of alternatives, sometimes people will insist on using plastic. And so if we can make the plastic that we use better, it will still have some impact. And it's also a nice way of allowing people to signal, because of the design of the product, that they're participating in this type of project. They're making a change, and that really can help to bring social pressure. One of those other social influence, I should say, one of those other behavioral change levers. So thank you, Nita. So now maybe we can go to Dr. Phang from Vietnam. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your project and the behavioral insights that are particularly noteworthy from your approach.
Thank you, Winnie. So firstly, I would like to describe briefly about the 2 schools where we conducted the pilot. At a high school in Ho Chi Minh City. Every day, the students bring a lot of plastic waste from outside to the school, including a food container, plastic cup, and PET bottle. So which generate a lot of amount of plastic waste in school, which can go up to 25 kilograms per day. So we do the pilot project with the purpose of increasing awareness of students on plastic waste, and also we would like to build the capacity for these students in terms of environmental aspect. So we applied 3 approach, which are information and also emotional appeal and social influence. So the first step is we provide the information to students by taking them to our office to organize some training for the key students, and also we provide the pamphlet on the plastic waste effect and how to deal with the problem. And the second step is we mainly conducted by the student at school. They are organized activity like waste segregation at the school, the contest on the video clip, and also painting and photo contest. So through this activity, students can understand more about the plastic waste effect on the environment. And I would like to say the student also make use of the social network like Facebook to disseminate information to other and also their parent and community for the understanding on this issue. So you can look on the screen on the left side. All the activity we organize in this school. Training, brochure, visit tour, field trip, photo clip contest, painting contest, and waste segregation. And on the right side, as the monitoring results. So after the 3 months, which is short term, we observe the waste plastic waste reduction around 8.5%. But it's noted that when the pilot finished, we still observe the continuous waste segregation at the school, and also the school themselves organize such activity for reducing the plastic waste in their community. For example, they organize cleaning event locally to collect the solid waste and separate the waste, including the plastic waste. And also during the vacation break, they organize the cleaning event at the beach. So that is the continuous activity after pilot. So that's some result from our pilot. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful, thank you. And I think we have on the next slide just a few pictures from the project detailing what Dr. Kwok was just mentioning. So thank you very much for that. And in the interest of time, because of course with best intentions, we are always pressing our time. We'll move on quickly to the colleagues from University of the Philippines, Diliman. I believe we will have Noriza giving us the overview here, please.
Yes, thank you very much. So for University of the Philippines, Diliman, we conducted a pilot project for plastic-free vending, where we partnered with 3 ambulant vendors and also 3 non-ambulant vendors. So the methods that we employed in this project is that we provided biodegradable or reusable alternatives to plastic food packaging to our partner vendors to test the alternative packaging acceptability and practicality. We were also able to develop communication strategy with our food providers to encourage our students to bring their own reusable containers and practice segregation. So we provided physical posters posted on the vendor sites, vendor locations, and also we posted these posters in social media sites. Aside from that, we also sustained the prohibition of selling drinks in plastic bottles, and also we offer discounts, a 5 peso discount to customers who choose to bring and use their own reusable food containers. And finally, we did a regular collection of our compostable food packaging waste through the implementation of a proper waste segregation system in our partner sites. So as a result of this pilot project, as shown in our presentation, the interventions led to a considerable reduction in the plastic waste generated. As you can see in the first graph in the slide, there is a significant decrease in plastic waste generation in our partner sites. Also, the next graph, as you can see, this one, it shows the peak count of customers with personal containers before and during implementation. So I think there, because of the discounts that we provided, a very small discount, 5 peso discount for bringing their own reusable containers, there is a marginal increase. So I think this can be improved in the maybe in the next phase of the study. And then for the third graph, it shows the waste segregation frequency with the vendor. So upon surveying our customers, majority of the respondents are segregating their waste properly. So we are actually able to solve the segregation problem with the help of our partner vendors, and also by the provided posters, and also by providing actual samples of waste types in each bins. So we are actually able to provide our partner vendors with appropriate number of bins with a sample of waste in each bin. Yeah, and then finally, the last graph shows us the frequency of bringing drinking bottles. So I think the sustenance or sustaining the ban on selling plastic bottles and providing refilling stations for water in our non-ambulant partner vendors resulted in a significant number of customers who bring their own water containers. And then shown in the next slide, these are some of the pictures of what we did in the project. So we, as you can see there, we provided posters, and then we provided segregation bins. As you can see in the picture with the segregation bins, I think the segregation, they really applied what the posters actually tell them. Yeah, and then next is, as you can see there, they are now segregating their waste. They are also bringing their own water bottles. They are actually enthusiastic with the provided biodegradable alternatives to plastics. And finally, as you can see in the pictures, we have the project successfully provided 2 electric vehicles for efficient collection of compostable waste through the throughout the campus by the UP Diliman Environmental Management Office. So the vehicles that were provided are highly effective in streamlining the collection process. Following the collection of this compostable waste, they are now processed in our materials recovery facility in our campus, and they are now turned into compost. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Norisa. And yeah, I think that what we've heard from all 4 panelists so far is, the great value of knowing who your audience is, knowing how to communicate to them, and getting partners on board. And I think it really shows the value of bringing emotional appeals into your communication strategy. And so hopefully we'll have more opportunity to talk about that aspect as we move on. So we'll jump to the next question now. And during this section, each of our panelists will have 2 minutes to provide a brief overview from their perspective, and then they'll call on 2 individuals from their projects and countries to give their reflections on implementation of the project. So we'll start here, as always, with Dr. Arisman to talk about the roles that participants took in your project.
Okay, thank you, Duin. I believe that all the stakeholders' roles is important, including the faculty members, the top management of the university, the faculty, the seller, the coffee shop, including the student. But for us, the behavior change target mostly to the student, because they are the one who big customers in the canteen compared to the faculty member. And of course, the student can get more benefit, like involving in the research process, in the monitoring process, as well as the all activities for the intervention. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
And I wonder if you can call on a couple of your colleagues, I believe maybe here in the room, to provide their reflections as well. I think we have a mobile microphone that we can bring to them.
Maybe Okay, Lisa. Oh, the microphone.
Okay, thank you. I'm a final year university student from the project in our university. The benefit that I got such capacity building to improve my research skill and knowledge on how to conduct a pilot project. And the roles that students took in this project, like involve the baseline survey and monitoring, support the promoting this project by social media like Instagram, organize workshop and learn how to recycle single-use plastic, awareness raising about plastic issue from the event that held in our university. And from this pilot project, I also realized plastic straw, there is no significant difference when not using straws for drinks. And so after the nudging strategy that was implemented, I, as a student, began to get used to choosing not to use plastic straws. So,
Okay. So thank you very much for that. And I'd really like to thank you in particular. I think the student involvement in all of these projects has been something that is really inspiring and really enriched the projects, bringing different perspectives, younger perspectives. Speaking as someone who is no longer young, I think that we really benefit from the perspective of the next generation to see things that it's possible that that those of us who are a bit older might forget. So thank you very much. And so now maybe I can ask Dr. Nuta to give a brief overview of roles in your project and then call on your colleagues to intervene. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and nice to meet you again. Okay, and in our project, we have 4 members. First is the project manager, which is Dr. Patricia Chaikao, and next is Dr. Pong San. He is in charge of methodology, conception, and also analysis of the result. And me, Nuta, is the conceptual framework, in charge of conceptual framework. And last but not least is Ms. Karmapon Okochi. She is my research assistant, and she's played a major role in collect data. And what we have learned is to change behavior is not easy, but it takes more time, and they have a lot of barriers to expansions of in change behavior. Like for example, if we also right now we have alternative how to say alternative packaging to replace the plastic packaging, but they have many barriers. Like for example, the price is quite higher than the plastic one, and also the design and the limitations of size and availability is still limits. And so on. For the details, I maybe introduce my members to share their experience or their learning from Dr. Patricia Chaikao.
All right. Good
Okay.
morning, everyone. Nice to be here with you online anyway. For my roles that Achanuta already introduced, the first thing I think about this project is to try to engage the collaborators and existing partners as many as possible and inspire students to get involved in this project. So in the holistic view, to reach or to make this happen, I think we start from the first step by inform the public about how important and the concerns of these issues, and then to consult whatever knowledge we have. We try to like make a I would say the role player, as the environmentalist or environmental educators, and then involve consumers and also the sellers in the markets to ensure that they they have these concerns and issues that are directly reflected the alternatives that we already provide. And yeah, the next step is to collaborate with all the partners, including you at the stage right now. And the last step that I think we have to be there is to empower the public to have their own decision-making process. So at that point, I think we achieve, yeah, the final goal of the project, that they have the behavioral change and make decision to like not to use the plastic or try to reduce and make their own decision. I think that all the roles that we think about, that we played some part of this project. I think that's all for my part. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'd just like to thank you in particular for providing some insight into the role of empowering individuals to make choices. This is part of the choice architecture leverage point, but also makes use of information, social influence, and really can get people to have ownership of the project. So I think that was a really valuable insight. Thank you. And Nuta, I'll just check if you have another colleague. Nope. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So then we'll move on to Dr. Phang. And in this case, we'll have interveners from Vietnam, and Dr. Phang, you'll kindly translate for us. So we'll have a little bit of extra time for this one. So please don't feel time pressure. Please. Thank you.
So in the pilot project in Vietnam, we applied a participatory approach. In which we come to the school to discuss with the teacher there, and on the activity have a proposal mainly from basically from the school in consultation with our team, and also with the idea from the student. We determine that the student are the target and also the key actor for implementing the pilot. So from our side, at the research institution, we provide information and technical guidance for student, and also the main actor here from a teacher and student of the school play an important role in the pilot. So I would like to invite teacher and student from Hebron School have some opinion on their activity and their role in the pilot. Thank you. Can I speak in Vietnamese? Alo, cô Hằng ơi, trường Hiệp mình có online không ạ? Alo.
Alo, dạ có anh Phong ơi.
Bây giờ cái chương trình hội thảo của mình muốn tìm hiểu về cái vai trò của các thầy cô của trường, đặc biệt là cái vai trò của học sinh đó, trong cái dự án thí điểm của mình là như thế nào. Thì cô hoặc là các em có thể trình bày rõ như cái mình tham gia ra sao, đóng góp vai trò như thế nào, để cho
phần này là cái chương trình mình đã tham gia trước đây, cái kiểu mà cái việc mà mình đã làm trước vừa qua đó.
Vừa qua đúng rồi.
Hello. The role of student. No. Okay, hello everyone. I can say about the project at my school. the teacher help a student to participate in the project. Teacher in charge the role for the student, so they can turn in many activities, such as painting contest, and they can participate in many training programs from institutes, and the student participating the what? Sorry. Another activity is oh no, I forget the name of this activity. So sorry. A lot of students join in the project, active and enthusiastically, especially in this school year. They are participating reducing and recycle the plastic waste, such as they are making some product from this. They blend and they make keychains from the bottle we use to from the bottle we use to contain milk. Okay. The teacher help them a lot of in participating many activities. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much. And I'll just double check, Dr. Fung, if there's another intervener or
Just
perfect. Thank you. Then I just want to reflect as well, and thank you for a colleague in Vietnam for mentioning this. Again, this strong role of students in co-generating this project. The STEM clubs were absolutely fantastic, and I think shows the benefit that we see in other projects as well of really reaching out and having clear communication, you know, whether that's conducting focus groups or open dialogues with community, can really help to understand your target group. It can help you to create more impactful intervention. So thank you very much for raising that point. Thank you. And now maybe we can finish this section, turning to Dr. Leah, I believe, from University of Philippines, Diliman, please.
Thanks, Dwayne. So good morning, everyone. So for the pilot project for plastic-free vending in UP Diliman, we have the task force on environmental sustainability, which is the main project implementer. Okay, and then the UP Institute of Civil Engineering and the UP Diliman Environmental Management Office were tapped to partner with for the implementation. Then other project participants include our vendors, ambulant and non-ambulant vendors, and we have the staff of the UP demo to collect and process our compostable alternatives. And then, of course, we have our customers, students, faculty, and staff members, and visitors of the campus to observe their behavior insights. Okay. As a background, no, when we proposed this project, I think last year, so that's during the pandemic, and then face-to-face activities in the campus only started back in February. So when the project was approved and then ready to be implemented, we had to reorient or organize ourselves because some behaviors really changed, no? Pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and then after the pandemic when we came back. So we did some dialogue, focus group discussions with the vendors to really determine the problem and what aspects should we focus on and what are the available plastic alternatives that we can implement. So, and we cannot just focus on top-down approach that, oh, we should do this, we should do that, right? And with the limited time for the project, so we really tried to gather information and solicit suggestions for the and we're really happy that we believe that the project is successful given the time resource. At least it started something, no, in terms of behavioral change. Okay, so we would like to invite 2 online participants to share their insights and reactions. So first, a student of BS Civil Engineering who is also part of the project. She's our assistant. So may I call on Miss Andy Tan.
Hello, good afternoon. For my insight, I feel that we need to help others be aware of the project. Sorry, I have weak internet, so I might get disconnected if I have video. Is it okay if I don't have video? Okay. And then sometimes people would be approaching me because we put up tarpaulins and they would ask what the project is about. And the large tarpaulins really help others to become aware of the project. Also, because we posted our posters online, I think it provided more reach to others. And I think we can take the initiative of using less plastic by bringing our own utensils and foodware and tumblers. And also bringing home our consciousness of segregating trash. I also think it is important to use more emotional appeal since we just started this project. I think it is especially important to students to bring their own foodware because I spoke to some people and they are aware. However, they just tend to forget to bring their own foodware. And also, it is important to consider the participation of those involved to ensure the success of your project. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, and then another one, we have Mr. John Anthony Cruz. He is a project officer of Catholic Relief Services, civil society organization. But maybe Anthony, as a graduate student of the university at the same time working in CSO, what can you say about this project?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anthony of CRS Philippines and still a student in UP Diliman also. So I believe a point of reflection from this sharing is that improper plastic consumption and waste management are more than just an environmental issue that require technical solutions. So it must also be viewed or addressed as a result of human behavioral conditions caused by social and economic factors. So given that the socio-economic situation in the Philippines, the use of disposable packaging in most institutions is still highly prevalent because they are cheap and are readily available. And with the increase in price marking of almost all goods in the market for sustainable packaging options, and with the limited purchasing capacity of informal economy on other sustainable packaging options, they settle on what is affordable at the time of purchase, to which such goods are for the packaging options are disposable. And because of the frequency with which the behavior was observed, more plastics were made and used and eventually become waste. Therefore, while we may want to limit or at least manage plastic consumption in the Philippines, we must first address the consumer's economic conditions and how they will be able to shift from their existing practice to adopting a more sustainable consumerism practice. Or to be more specific, no, how do we make the sustainable options more affordable or available? At least specific to the project being implemented in UP Diliman, alternative options are provided, such as advocating for bringing of food containers and provision of biodegradable food containers and packaging. So to note also, no, that such reality has defined why most local efforts are focused on after consumption of goods or when they have become waste, which is on solid waste management, particularly on plastic waste management. I think that's all from my end.
Thank you, Anthony. Back to you, Dwayne.
Thank you, and thank you to both of the interveners from the Philippines. I think that it's really important to highlight the role of listening to your community here. I think it's common to all the projects, but I think this was a very succinct way of highlighting that by listening, we can tailor our interventions to meet the needs of people in the conditions and the context that they're in. I think this was a really valuable intervention, so thank you. And so now we'll move on to the final question of the panel before we open the floor to question period from the audience. This is a two-pronged question, but we have maybe about 10 to 15 minutes for this section. So maybe we can be a little tight on the time. But I'm wondering, Dr. Arisman, if you could lead us off here to talk about how you think you can best utilize the lessons coming from the projects, and also to think about who you might like to collaborate with in the future, given how you might apply those lessons.
Yeah, thank you, Dwayne. Yeah, I think how we utilize and the achievement and the lesson learned. Yeah. I have 3 points. I highlight 3 points. The first one is the data and the monitoring is important to assess the long-term effectiveness of the strategy. In this case, we use the nudging strategy with the six framework. I mean the framework with the 6 approach. And then the second one, we can have a story and make a communication strategy to inspiring other people to take action. And for the behavior change, it's more effective if there's a high commitment from all stakeholders. So I believe that not only from the top management on the university, but also involving like the canteen, the cafe shop, and all the stakeholders, including students. So this is important to collaborate to all the stakeholders in the pilot. But to scale up, of course, our project in Depok, we hope that we can replicate to other university or other schools in the Depok city, or even if the idea can be bought by the Depok city. So we hope that we can collaborate with in the local government level. I think that's all.
Thank you very much, Arisman. Nuta, maybe what are your reflections on this question?
Thank you very much. From the results as I show you on the screen previously, that the results of the single-use plastic reduction at July Free Market is reduced a lot compared with Samyan Free Market. So for the next step, I will I mean our team will apply the communication strategy or promotion strategy that we use at July Free Market to apply at Samyan Free Market in order to raise amount of single-use plastic reduction at Samyan Free Market. And for the tool that we our team would like to collaborate with is, we think that to change behavior we cannot do ourselves, so we have to collaborate with other in our pilot with first the university administration board to force the policy, and the second is influencer or public relations, which play the role to communicate to other people in the university. And Next is consumer and shop owners should play the role to change the behavior. And last but not least is, I think, as I show you that because of the alternative packaging is limited for the size or the availability or the design. So I think I have to work with the packaging manufacturer or the product company who produce like alternative packaging to do some research to make or develop the alternative packaging that low cost as the plastic one and also more availability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nuta. That was a wonderful kind of mapping out of actors in the system. Thank you. Dr. Feng, I wonder, can you also reflect on this question of reflecting on the lessons and achievements and how you'll use them going forward and who you might want to work with as partners for that?
Thank you. We have many lessons learned from the pilot. First is the project duration. If in the future, if we apply the pilot in the school, it should be in the early stage of the school year, so that the teacher, the school can manage their school schedule and integrated in the pilot, the project activity into the school timeline. And second is we noticed that the summer break is also the good time for implementing the education, environmental education purpose. For example, they can students can organize some activity outside of the school in the community. They can join with the mass organization like a youth union to organize a cleaning event or even like provide the information to local community. So this is also a step, like a measure to increase awareness of local people. And we during after the pilot, we have many products from students, such as painting, the model, the clip, etc. But there is no space to display this product. If we can have a place in the year, for example, where can the student can observe their product as a visual impact to their the feeling to the understanding. So it's better. But we already discussed in the pilot, but within the short time, the student cannot decide to view a place for this display in the product. So that's lesson. Regarding the partner we want to work with in the future, first is as the management level at the city. City would like to work with environmental protection division. They can provide the guidance and technical guidance, and also some material, or even especially they provided updated regulation on the plastic waste and also guidance on the waste segregation. When we work with more than one school, the partners would be the division of Department of Education and Training. So who can be a coordinator or create link amongst school, so which enable smooth cooperation among these schools. And of course, we would like to discuss with the vendor, because where the vendor is they can sell the beverage or food with a plastic container. So to find solution, if we can apply alternative material product instead of single-use product, single-use plastic. And of course, the cooperation with the environmental research institution and also civil organization is a good cooperation that can help provide technical issue on the plastic waste. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fang. And I love that we're hearing some common themes here from the panelists, that there are some common strategies that may be applicable as we move forward. Thank you. So now I think we'll go back to Norisa. If you could provide us with your reflections from the experience in the Philippines, please.
Yes, for our experience, I think the best thing or the best way to utilize the achievements and lessons of our project is to communicate, educate, collaborate, and also implement. So for communication, it's best that we communicate the project's achievements and lessons with all our stakeholders and continue the dialogue or collaborations between the university administrators, the vendors, customers, building administrators, and possibly with the student organizations in our campus. Can also educate the public and raise awareness on plastic pollution and solutions. And then finally, in terms of collaboration, we can collaborate with the local community, both formal and the informal residential communities inside our campus in implementing the sustainable practices. So UP Diliman is actually comprised of not just students, faculty, staff, administrators, but we also have informal residential community inside our campus. So implementing community-driven initiatives can also foster a sense of ownership and active participation in promoting sustainable practices in our campus. We can also collaborate with other academic institutions and local government units for our research and also advocacy and possible project scaling up. And finally, one key challenge in the continuation of this project is to ensure a consistent supply of compostable alternatives at an affordable cost. So we can also collaborate with packaging manufacturers, and also for the waste utilization, we can also collaborate with plastic recyclers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norisa. And I think that's this common theme has come up again, this final point around supply chains and the availability of alternatives. So this is a key thing to consider as we move forward on this issue. So just before we turn over to the Q&A, I'd like to ask everyone to give our panelists a round of applause. Thank you very much for your insights. And now we'll start with a question and answer period. As you notice, we have a mobile microphone. So if you have a question here in the room, please raise your hand. In particular, I invite the students. So I see one down at the back. And online, please use the question and answer box. And then as our second question, I have a question submitted by high school students in Vietnam. So please, first the question from the back of the room, the gentleman.
My name is Ismail from Triple IU. Basically, the question is aimed to Dr. Arisman, but yeah, generally all the panelists can also provide or share their experience in handling this question. So it's a very interesting to know that the applications of behavioral insights to the students. But what interests me so much is there particular comparisons that have been done in the applications of this BI to different types of the students? For example, like based on the region or domiciles, whether or not there is a significant comparisons between students living in urban areas and rural areas, and what are the significant approaches that actually effective in influencing their behavior so that the waste reduction programs can be effectively done. And not more than that, I see that the panelists also conduct this program to different types of education. So I would like to also assertively know which of these 6 layers of behavioral change that actually quite impactful in affecting the behaviors of education. I mean, like primary students, secondary high school student, to the level of higher education must have a different level of understanding, also cognitive aspects. So I'd like to also seek for further explanations on this. And more than that, do you think it is also important to include different or separated set of curriculums only focusing on waste reductions to be implemented or to be asserted, for example, like as a local contentions of curriculum that can be designed separately, not only relying on the central government, but also separately, because like every local schools have their own local challenges. I think that's my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. And I think that this is a really important point that you raised, just to kind of at the meta level about the role that curriculum can play here at different levels of education. I think this is a really important question and one that we're starting to learn about. Because as you rightly note, you're dealing with different levels of cognition with students at different ages. They can understand things in different ways. But of course, we also know, it came up in the workshop yesterday, that engaging with students, younger students, can be a really impactful way of getting change in the larger community, because they take that information home to their parents. I think we've all seen this in our own upbringing. So thank you for raising these points, and I'll just turn over to Dr. Erisman for the rest.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a very tough question. Okay, basically for our pilot, we are focusing on the university student, and specifically we focusing on one faculty only. And of course, in our baseline survey, unfortunately, we don't identify the student coming from the urban or rural area. But I think it's quite important to understand that kind of factors. And regarding the curriculum, I also agree that yeah, there should be a curriculum for waste management or environmental education, maybe in general. And I believe there is some initiative already, like put it in the curriculum in the schools, especially in the primary schools, like they learn how to waste segregation maybe and waste management, but not too much. But this is should be leveraged in the national level under our Ministry of Education maybe, because this should be national policy and implemented in the local level if the local government also can support. So yeah, I think for us, based on our pilot from 6 approach, I believe all approach is important, but for us, maybe I mentioned again, the first is material incentive. That's why we, for the plastic straw, we charge 2,000 rupiah. We don't ban the straw, but we charge. So people will think, okay, I have to sacrifice 2,000 to get a straw. And then the second one is about a choice architecture. I think it's important. Before we did intervention, there's the straw is in front of the display of the store. Now they put it at the back. I think big chain restaurant like KFC also done the same things now. I don't know about McDonald's, but I think this strategy is effective to me. Of course, emotional appeals, information, and rules is also needed. But these two is, from my personal perspective, is more effective for our pilot in University of Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Erisman. And I'll note as well that I think you covered this quite well, but that when we're crafting behavioral insights interventions, it's often most successful when you combine elements. So the traditional nudging roles of regulations or information campaigns, when they're combined with choice architecture, the impact is significantly more. And that's why you're quite correct that you start seeing now corporations, large chains doing these types of things. And so we can put that into work in our practice as well. So thank you. And I want to jump to a question from the students in Vietnam for our panel. They've noticed they want to be spreading their message that they're learning to the community, to their families, and they're wondering, this requires a lot of effort. Are there any tips or tricks for creating a communication strategy that you used in your projects that you could give to them that maybe they can put into practice as they move forward? Anything, Nuta?
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for the good questions. And actually, before we change the behavior, first of all, we have to give the knowledge, to inform the knowledge, to make awareness in ourselves. And when we have awareness, then we have like intention to do something. And next step, after we have intention, so we can change behavior. Okay. And for the tips, okay, and under the July Silhouette project, we do many type of media like poster or around the university, stickers, and also we go to like the channel that all the students most use, like TikTok, Twitter, Lines, and also Lisa Blackpink, right? She's very famous and very have a very impact. Like when Lisa come back to Thailand, if she went to the restaurant on the evening, in the morning, that restaurant very crowded with the people, right? So I think influencer is very important right now. So, but I think, yeah, if we can invite them to be influencer in this topic, so it's going to be good for us to big change in the behavior. Yes, that's answer for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nuta. Yeah, I think that this idea of having maybe influencer, someone who has a champion, came up in our discussions yesterday. I think it's a really effective communication strategy, and I think that most people are quite happy to join a cause like this because of the incredible social benefit that we see and environmental benefit, of course. So I think that's a great point. Thank you. And we just have maybe 1 or 2 minutes left. So I'm going to throw a huge question at everyone that we don't have enough time to answer. So this came up in the chat online and also came up in some of our discussion. This idea that, when we go into transition moments, Dr. Fong mentioned, summer break for the students. Marisa and Leah mentioned, post-COVID, coming back into the university landscape. There were a lot of changes, and online they mentioned particularly food delivery as this huge source of plastic now. And they're wondering, are there any emerging opportunity spaces that you see in this kind of post-COVID context that your work could expand into to consider this as well? I'm not sure if I have anyone in particular I'd like to call on, but do you have any thoughts on this? I'm wondering maybe, down Leah at the end, please.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking about now is, right now we don't have any connections with the online shopping. Like Shopee, we don't have any connections. So we don't know yet about any reduction measures that can be implemented, because I think they're considering also customer satisfaction with the deliveries. But coming from the engineering side, what we are doing now is studying the feasibility of recycling such plastic packaging like bubble wraps, orange plastic bags. So there are technologies available now, like densifying these plastics after shedding them and turning them into upcycled products. So, but in terms of sustainability, affordability, we are not yet sure how they come up. Yeah. But I think aside from reduction, the goal also is to really manage them properly so that they will not end up in undesirable places like streets, rivers. So waste management is also a crucial aspect in this talk about plastic pollution. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Yeah, and I think, yeah, as you mentioned, there's a need to reach out into the business community that serves the institutions, whether they're located on campus or maybe they're just outside campus, and bring them into the conversation, spreading the message into the larger community and building the movement that way. So with that, we are out of time. I want to be respectful of the time. So thank you again to our panel. Thank you. And now I will turn it back over to Watabe-san to close us out. Watabe-san, please, if you'd like to come up. Or maybe is the mobile microphone would be easier? Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, distinguished panelists and participants, for great questions and discussion. I think we learned quite a lot about the insights, success, as well as some challenges they faced during the implementation. For example, the Chulalongkorn University pilot, well, did not work as better in the case of the outside market. And this will give us the challenges ahead, how we can address these gaps. And as some of the audience from the floor mentioned, we want to know also how students or how people in general from different communities react differently to the behavioral interventions. So we have some success from these pilot cases, which we started in the small scale, but we need still quite a lot of challenges we want to pave way ahead. And to this end, we'll also learn from the panelists here, as well as some interventions from online, that the whole idea about the behavioral insights approach is more about the empowerment of the people, empowerment of ourselves, but collectively designing, implementing the interventions toward creating alternative context of behaviors. So the panelists also mentioned their hope to further engaging with many potential partners, including the manufacturers, vendors, or online shops, and so on, or the faculty members, city administrators, and so on. So we want to achieve these objectives in the future ahead. And I hope that some, or hopefully all of the audience on site, online, join our folks to pursue these objectives ahead. So with this, I would like to conclude this event, and I really thank all the participants, as well as the organizers, the area staff, IGES staff members, to support this challenging event. And well, again, thank you very much.